Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going over the Day 9 matches for the 2023 PDC World Darts Championship. This is taking place on Friday, December 23rd. These are the 8 remaining second round matches, and there's an afternoon and evening session with 4 matches each. Before I go over my picks, I want to do a brief summary of the tournament so far. 24 players have already sealed their spots in the third round. Out of these 24 players, 21 of them are seeded players, the other 3 being players who qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit and who beat seeded players. These 3 are Alan Suter, who beat Daryl Gurney, Josh Rock, who beat Callan Ridds, and Jim Williams, who beat James Wade today in a big upset. Looking at the international qualifiers, not one has yet qualified for the third round, and only 4 remain, and all 4 of them play tomorrow. Looking at the players who qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit, other than the 3 I mentioned that are already in the third round, there's only 4 left, and they also play tomorrow. So we could potentially be looking at a third round where 29 players are seeded players, 3 qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit, and none of them are international qualifiers. Players that make the third round make a minimum of £25,000, which means winning these second round matches are worth around £10,000, which is almost the equivalent of winning a Players' Championship tournament throughout the season. If they win their third round match, that 25 turns into a 35 with the potential for even more. Let's get to the picks. Alright, match number 1. Brendan Dolan versus Jimi Hendrix. Brendan is a seeded player in the top 32, and Hendrix qualified through the West Europe qualifier. Brendan made the quarterfinal of the Worlds in 2019, and this is Hendrix's debut. They played once this season in Players' Championship 19, and Hendrix won that match. Let's take a look at Hendrix's first match against Jamie Hughes. He won 3-1. Had a 78.33 average, 3 180s, 9 140s, and a 29% checkout percentage. Hughes averaged 79. Pretty bad game overall. Pretty low standard for a game in the Worlds. Let's see how that's going to stand up against Brendan Dolan. Starting with power rankings, Brendan's got close to 100 points higher on TV. Averages, Brendan's over 6 points ahead. 180s are around the same. Checkout percentage, 5% higher for Brendan. First 9, first 3. Both 6 and 7 points higher for Brendan. I haven't seen much from Brendan this year. I think he had a good spell where he won a Players' Championship tournament, but nothing else really is standing out to me. Based on numbers alone, I gotta have to agree with Darts Oracle here. 66% chance for Brendan, but this could be a close one. I'm gonna say Brendan's gonna win 3-1 or 3-2 here. Jimmy got the nerves out in the first match against Hughes, so I think he's probably gonna come back with a little bit of a higher average. He's gonna be a little bit more comfortable on stage, so he's going to put up a little bit more of a fight. So yeah, Brendan to win here. Next up, we have Chris Dobie versus Martin Kleermaker. Dobie is the seeded player here, and Kleermaker qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Dobie made the last 16 in 2019, 2020, and last year, and Kleermaker made the last 16 last year. They didn't play each other in the Worlds, though. They have played each other 3 times, though, in the past. Dobie taking all 3 of those. These are 2 home tour matches and 1 World Series Finals qualifier. Nothing substantial. Let's take a look at Kleermaker's first round match against Zicheng Han. He ended up winning 3-0 versus Zicheng Han. He had an 86.28 average, 1 180, 14 140s, and a 37% checkout percentage. This is nothing really notable. His opponent had a 77 average, and it was I think this was kind of a walk for Kleermaker, so it's kind of hard to tell how he'll actually play in the second round when there's actually some pressure on him. Let's look at the stats. Power rankings, Dobie has 100 points on him, and he's approaching 1900, which is top tier. Averages, 5 points higher. First 9, first 3, same thing. 5 to 8 points higher. 180s, almost double for Dobie, and checkout percentage, they're around the same. Kleermaker has them by maybe 1%. Just looking at that first 9 and first 3, both approaching 105 points, and the power rankings on TV, you got to pick Dobie here. Kleermaker won 3-0 in the first round, but it wasn't really that good of a showing. He had 180. I think Dobie's going to outscore him a lot, and if he hits his doubles, it's going to be probably a 3-0 or a 3-1. Darts Oracle says 77%. I'm going to have to agree with that. Next match, Ross Smith versus Darius Labanauskas. Ross is the seeded player, and Labanauskas qualified through the PDC Nordic and Baltic qualifiers. Smith made the last 32 in the Worlds last year, and Labanauskas made the quarterfinals in 2020. They've played 3 times in the last 3 years, and Ross Smith took 2 of those matches. Let's take a look at Darius's first round match. He played John O'Shea, and he ended up winning 3-2. He had an 84 average, 2 180s, 14 140s, and a 31% checkout percentage. 84 is nothing to brag about, and John O'Shea only averaged 81. A pretty rough match to watch. I'd say the only good thing about that match is Darius came back from 2 sets to nothing to end up winning it. Let's see how this compares to the yearly stats. Power rankings, Ross Smith is 133 points higher and approaching that 1900 mark. Averages, Ross Smith 6 points higher, 180s, almost tripled for Ross Smith. That's crazy. Checkout percentage, 2 points higher for Smith. First 9, first 3, both around 103 for Smith, and 95, 96 for Darius. Darius got away with one in the first round. I think he might get one set here if he's lucky, but you got to pick Ross Smith here to win easy. 3-0 or 3-1. All right, and the last match of the afternoon session is probably going to be the best match of the entire day. Rob Cross versus Scott Williams. Rob is the seeded player, and Scott qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Cross won Worlds in 2018, and this is Scott Williams' debut. They've played each other 2 times this year, both times in Players' Championship quarterfinals, and they split matches. Scott Williams' first round, he ended up winning 3-1 versus Ryan Joyce, and it was the highest average in the first round. Let's take a look at those stats. He had a 100 average with 10 180s, 21 140s, and a 55% checkout percentage. And that's absurd. And he ended up winning 3-1 against Ryan Joyce, who averaged 103. So I was wrong. Ryan Joyce had the highest average, but he ended up losing. Even Joyce's numbers are absurd compared to everyone else's. The fact that Williams won 3-1 still, even looking at Joyce's numbers, that's incredible. He also had the highest out so far in the tournament with the 164. Let's see how these numbers compare to his yearly stats along with Rob Cross's. Looking at the power rankings here, Cross is at 1862, approaching the 1900 mark. That's class. Williams 140 points lower. This may be attributed to Williams just not having a lot of TV appearances this year so far. He's only had a handful, but still 1862 is nothing to mess with. Averages, Cross is 6 points higher overall. First 9 and first 3, Cross is around 104 for both, and Scott Williams is around 100 for both. What's pretty incredible is this is Scott's first year, and he has 497 180s already, which is more than Rob Cross. Looking at Scott's first round stats, 55% checkout and 100 average, that's going to be tough to maintain, but even if he does, he's still going to have a fight. Cross has been in really good form lately, and I just have a feeling he's going to be coming out shooting really big numbers here. Even with the great stats from Scott in the first round, I still have to pick Rob here to win, just based on merit alone and the bottle he's shown in some of the matches this year. If Scott shows up and he plays like he did in the first round, I think this is going to be a really good match, and he actually has a chance to win it. But I think long-term statistics, Cross is going to win this match more times than not. I don't know if I'd agree with Oracle here that he'll win 72% of the time. I might be leaning towards 60 to 65%. My pick is Cross to win 3-1 or 3-2, and I'm really hoping Scott wears his yellow pants this time. All right, now on to the evening session. To start it off, we have Martin Schindler versus Martin Lukeman. Battle of the Martins. Schindler is the seeded player here. Lukeman qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Schindler made the last 64 of the Worlds in 2018, and this is Lukeman's debut. They've played 5 times, with Schindler taking 3 of those. In the 4 matches they played this year, they split 2-2. Let's take a look at his first round stats. He won 3-0 against Yamamoto. He had an 87 average, 0 180s, 10 140s, and 33 checkout percentage. Yamamoto had an 83 average. 87's decent, but it's not really good. Let's take a look at how these compare with the yearly stats and with Martin Schindler's. Starting off with the power rankings, Schindler's only 15 points higher on TV, and they're both under 1800. Averages, Schindler's only 2 points higher. He does have close to 200 more 180s, which makes sense. Martin Lukeman hit 0 in his first round match. Checkout percentage, Lukeman is close to 42, while Schindler is around 38. First 9 and first 3, Schindler takes it by about 4 points each. Honestly, looking at the stats, Schindler has everything except checkout percentage, and power rankings are around the same. Statistically, you would go with Schindler here. But my gut's telling me Lukeman's going to win this one. He's more consistent of a player. He might be averaging slightly less, but I just think if Schindler wobbles at all, Lukeman's going to be right on his heels ready to pick up the leg. Darts Oracle is saying 62% for Schindler. I'm saying it's the exact opposite of that, 62% for Lukeman. I say it's going to be 3-1 or 3-2 Lukeman for the win. Next up, we have one of my favorites, Danny Noppert versus Dave Cameron. Danny is the seeded player here, and Cameron qualified through the CDC Tour. Danny made the last 32 in 2020, 2021, and last year. This is Cameron's debut. They've never played each other. Let's take a look at Dave's first round stats. Dave played Richie Edhouse, and he ended up winning 3-2 with a 87 average, 2 180s, 15 140s, and a 28% checkout percentage. Nothing spectacular, but I'd say it's in the decent category. The best part about this match was that he was down 0-2 in sets, and I believe 0-2 in legs in the last set, and he came back to win the whole thing, which shows some bottle. He got rid of his nerves. Let's see how this is going to compare to the yearlies and with Danny Noppert's stats. Starting with the power rankings, Noppert's 100 points higher, and he's approaching the 1900 mark. Averages, Noppert is 95 versus 88. It's a 7-point difference. 180s, Noppert's got 432 versus 95 for Dave. Checkout percentage, Noppert's approaching 42. Dave's only at 33, which is a huge difference. First 9 and first 3, Noppert's around 104 for each, 7 points higher than Dave Cameron's. This is clear-cut Noppert to win. Probably 3-0. Noppert's taking this one down. Next up, we have Johnny Clayton versus Danny Van Tripp. Clayton is a seeded player, and Danny qualified through the PDC Challenge Tour. Clayton made the last 16 last year, and this is Danny's debut. They played once this year in Players Championship 28, and Clayton won that match. Danny won his first round match against Steve Beaton. I actually thought Beaton was going to win that one, and Danny surprised me in that match. He shot pretty well. He had an 87 average, 4 180s, 15 140s, and a 34% checkout percentage. Beaton only averaged 85, and he had 0 180s and 25% checkout percentage, which is what attributed to his loss. Let's take a look at these stats. Starting with the power rankings, we're looking at close to 300 points higher for Johnny Clayton, and he's approaching on the 1900 mark. Another solid player. 97 average versus an 87, 10 points higher than that. Twice as many 180s, 7% higher on checkout percentage, and above 40 for Johnny. First 9 and first 3, both around 106, 10 points higher than Danny. You look at Oracle's percentage to win here, 92 versus 8%, and you got to almost agree. I think Danny might be able to pull off a set. Johnny's just going to be outscoring him and hitting his doubles way too often for Danny to even have a shot here. Johnny Clayton to take this. All right, last match of the night. We have Joe Cullen versus Ricky Evans. Cullen's a seeded player in the top 32. Evans qualified through the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Cullen made the last 16 in 2021. Ricky made the last 32 in 2014, 16, 2020, and 2021. They played each other 13 times, Cullen winning 10 of those. But since 2020, they played 6 times. Cullen won all 6 of those. Let's take a look at Ricky's first round match versus Fallon Sherrick. He ended up winning 3-1 with an 89 average, 5 180s, 14 140s, and 47% checkout percentage. Fallon played pretty well with an 89.7 and had her chances to win a second set, but it just didn't happen. Let's compare these to the yearlies. Starting with the power rankings. Almost 200 points higher for Cullen. Cullen's been a beast this year. 95 average versus 91 for Ricky. 2% higher on checkout percentage. First 9, first 3. 102 versus 100. Not much of a difference there. 180s is where you start seeing a big difference. Cullen has over twice as many 180s as Ricky, and he's just been playing way better this year overall. He's been in the Premier League. He won the Masters. He's won a few Players Championships. You got to go with the informed guy. You got to go with Cullen here. 3-0 or 3-1. Darts Oracle's saying 82% for Cullen to win. I got to agree there. I think he wins 3-1 or 3-0 pretty easily. And that's it for the picks, guys. Let me know what you think about those. And the third round starts next Tuesday on the 27th. I'll have those picks up as soon as I can. Take it easy. Have a happy holiday.